So we're here today with Celia Bradley from the Rutland Dog Walker. Celia is based in Rutland and she's going to talk to us today about canine body language. So hi Celia. Nice to see you.
Yeah, and you.
So this is us making the most of our time at the moment whilst we've not got so much going on. But so talk to us about sort of your business and what you do and how you got into the canine body language side of things.
Yeah, so I started the business about 4 years ago now, I think. Started off as just a little part-time dog walking thing to keep me busy, and then kind of snowballed into taking over my whole life. And yeah, as soon as I started doing a couple qualifications, like introduction to dog behaviour, first aid, things like that. And I was always quite interested in body language, and especially as I've got a deaf dog, and he kind of, watching him in social situations I find really interesting because he picks up on body language much quicker than some dogs. And I first did the course with the dog training college, and I just thought it was like the most eye-opening thing ever. And I went back to work the next day and I was like, oh, that dog's doing that, that dog's feeling that. So now, yeah, all my staff do this course. I've now qualified as a teacher of the course. And I think it's just really interesting, and there's a lot of things that people don't pick up on their dogs doing, or you have a conversation with someone and say, my dog does this. And then once you talk about the body language, they'll be like, oh, I can see that situation in a completely different light. So
it's kind of speaking your dog's language, isn't it?
Yeah, and just understanding them, because I think sometimes you get frustrated being like, what is my dog doing? Or why do they do this certain behaviour? And there's loads of really common misconceptions with it as well. So things like the tail wags, there's so many different meanings and ways of reading dogs' tail wagging. And most people think they're tail wagging, they're happy. So things like that I just find really interesting. And I love just kind of showing people, a different way to understand their dogs.
It's fascinating. Yeah. It sounds really amazing. It's a course that I know that we've spoken about, and I've been looking at it myself, and I'm like, oh, shall I, shan't I? Yeah. But for you in a social situation where you've got like multiple dogs and stuff, I suppose it's really helped your staff in terms of that, so you're giving the safest practice you can.
Yes, and I think they all find it really interesting, especially like with their own dogs. And yeah, you just pick up on things much earlier. So like a stressed dog, you can pick up the really early signs of it rather than the point where they're in a situation where they're unhappy. And especially managing group dog walks, you can kind of sense the different communications between the dogs much earlier. And yeah, I know they've all done it and then been like, oh, this is amazing. And I think, taking different dogs in different homes and taking them into different situations, it's really helpful.
Fab. So in terms of, so we've been doing a few masterclasses, and we've got a little Facebook group going for people brushing their dogs out at home, keeping on top of coat maintenance. What are sort of the signals that people might experience when they're trying to groom their dog at home?
Cool. So I know with my dogs will not let me near them with a hairbrush. So you look at each different part of the body gives you different cues. So for instance, around the mouth area, you can see tension in the dog's jaws, licking of lips, salivating. That tends to be kind of, if a dog is stressed, you'll see them licking their lips and yawning, but it's looking at the frequency and the repetition of it. I mean, if your dog yawns once and then 20 minutes later has another yawn, probably wouldn't be too concerned. But if your dog's yawning consistently every 2 minutes, you might start to think this isn't that they're tired, it might be a sign of stress. And same with licking lips. That's exactly what my two do. If I get the hairbrush out, they both go into overdrive, licking their lips, licking their nose over and over again. So it's looking at it in the context, in the repetition. That's the same with all body language. You need to look at the context, repetition, and the frequency of it. And also what's normal for your dog. So my Dachshund yawns all day, every day. Oh, there he is. Oh God. Sorry.
Cool. Back in the room. Okay, cool.
Sorry about that.
It's fine, don't worry. It happens. Mine will probably do it in a minute as well. It's like room time, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, so mouth, licking, yawning, with their eyes, lots of blinking, or the direction of gaze is important to look at. So a lot of dogs won't look at the thing that's stressing them out in the room. So if you've got a dog looking anywhere apart from you coming towards it with the nail clippers, might be slightly stressed, might want to come at it at a different angle or move into a different room or something, switch up the situation and see if it reduces their stress. But also, they call it hypervigilance with the eyes. So eyes darting everywhere, not focusing on a particular thing, looking all around the room, probably a little bit stressed. What else? Ears as well, direction of ears, obviously breed dependent. Frenchie's ears and a Basset Hound's ears are going to do completely different things. Looking at the muscles around the top of their ears, you can kind of pick up stress or whether they're listening for something. Kind of what's natural for your dog. So I know with my 2 retrievers, their ears go back, they pin them back against their head, and I'll probably give them a moment to chill out. And some dogs, we talk through these signs, some dogs won't show certain signs or aren't used to doing certain things. So my Dachshund, his ears are pretty chill most of the time, unless someone knocks on the front door and then they're right up. But yeah, so kind of what's normal for your dog, as I said before, whether they're repeating a behaviour that you think is a bit different and the frequency of it. And then further down their body, obviously their fur, if their fur sticks up on end, their hackles are up. It's usually a sign of stress, or their muscles, if their muscles tense around their tummy or their back legs. That's a really clear one to see, especially in sight hounds, like a greyhound. Not so much in something super fluffy like a poodle. But yeah, if you can see that in your dog and you can pick up on that. And kind of the opposite for all these things, if they're relaxed, if your dog's lying down and pretty nonchalant and their ears are floppy and their eyes are relaxed, the quickest way to tell a relaxed dog's eyes is they're usually almond shaped. So kind of, shaped like an almond on its side. You can see it really clearly in golden retrievers. That's usually like a happy, relaxed dog, slow blink, nothing too much going on. Trying to think of other things.
So you said, is it one of your toddlers that's deaf?
Yeah.
So does his body language, does he display a different type of body language? So obviously his ears do quite as much in terms of picking up sounds, because obviously he can't. Do you still see signals from him?
Yeah, so he's actually quite helpful in that he really over exaggerates all his body language. He's got no hearing at all, but his ears still go mad. Like, I can tell how he's feeling by his ears twitching about. I think as well he kind of copies the other dogs. If they're all suddenly up because the door's going, he'll put his ears up and be like, something's happening.
That's really
cute. He's really good with, some dogs do the direction of their body. So as soon as he's uncomfortable, he'll completely lean away from whatever's making him uncomfortable. He'll kind of wrap his body around me, kind of a hiding behind me kind of a thing, which is a good one. Some dogs, the whole leaning onto thing, he does that quite a lot when he's feeling insecure or worried about something. He'll just press against me, lean on me. Because I know some people are like, oh, my dog leans on me, it's really cute. But with him, I'm like, okay, we need to get him out of this situation.
Yeah, my big shepherd, if he's unsure, will always come and get near me, or like under a chair that I'm sat on, or by my legs. He tends to let you know. And he's quite switched on with his eyes. His eyes will do quite a lot if he's a little bit unsure. Like yesterday, we had an emergency trip to the vets because he had tummy ache. And bless him, it took me ages to figure out what was wrong with him. And I was like, he's not comfortable. He's like near me. He was leaning. He was looking. And I thought, oh, there's definitely something wrong with him. And it wasn't until I like gave him a proper hands on and touched his tummy, he was like, okay, that hurts, Mum. But it is fascinating. Like, he was trying to get my attention for probably a couple of hours, and I was thinking, I know there's something wrong, and I couldn't work out what it was. Because sometimes, like, he chases flies, but he doesn't like them because he's been stung by wasps. So sometimes he'll like chase it, and then he'll be like, whoa, actually no, I think I'm gonna get, and he'll shoot back in, and you're like, okay, something. And if there's a big bee around, he'll usually shoot in the house and just sit down until it's gone. And you think, okay. So I spent yesterday looking, and I was like, there's no bees, there's nothing flapping that could upset him. And I was like, right, there's actually something wrong with him. So they do try and tell you, don't they?
Yeah, and I think it's really good to like kind of take a mental note of what your dog's body language is like when they're relaxed. So especially when you get a new puppy being like, or a rescue, seeing the signs of like they've had the dinner, they're relaxed at the end, sleep like this, their mouth or their tongue's doing this, so that you can pick up a little bit more when they're poorly or when they're stressed out about things.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So just thinking about terms of people brushing their dogs at home, would their tail indicate So I suppose a lot of people would know, like, their tail up is fine, but if the tail tucked under would perhaps indicate that your dog's uncomfortable with being groomed at home.
Yeah, so the thing about that is their scent glands are around their bum. So tail up, they're usually happy to spread their scent, and that's them being confident and happy. Tail down, they're trying to hide their scent, which is essentially hiding from other dogs or hiding from you, because they think if you can't smell them, you can't see them. But obviously, again, breed specific, like an Akita isn't able to tuck their tail under and hide away. I know that's what my two do, tuck it under. The tail wagging, often kind of a slow, deliberate wag, is a dog weighing up their options, thinking, possibly kind of slightly aroused in terms of lots of things going on, and they're trying to work out what their next move is, which can be kind of stress arousal. It can be good arousal, you've just got a tennis ball out, but it's just something to pick up on. The happy wag is usually a windmill wag. If your dog's tail is spinning like this, you can be like, they're happy about this.
Yeah, my cats normally do that when they're doing scent work. Their tails kind of go, woo!
Yeah, very silly tails. So yeah, when you're kind of brushing your dog, I think it's picking up on the tension of their muscles in their body, whether they're looking at you, all those things talked about before, licking, yawning, eye contact, things like that. And it's just being aware of their threshold, because I know mine have a very short threshold with when they'll flip over and go into kind of panicking, feeling very uncomfortable. So I can brush them for 10 seconds and then I have to give them a bit of a break. And I think, especially doing it at home, if they're not used to you doing it, it's worth considering, okay, I'm going to do this for a minute and then stop before they get to that point of hating it. So giving them a break, maybe coming back later in the day, or maybe just doing 30 seconds in the morning, 30 seconds at night. You don't need to give them a full groom all at once if it's causing them to panic.
Absolutely, that's something we spoke about during our sort of challenge, that do a little bit of a section, give your dog a break, give them a reward, and come back to it when they're nice and relaxed. And it's for me, in terms of grooming at home, it's not doing it around sort of their dinner times or when they're used to a walk or anything like that with their routine. So you mentioned about nail clipping earlier on as well, and if they're perhaps starting to shy away from it. In the salon, we flip around how we do nails depending on the dog. So sometimes we'll do nails first, sometimes we'll do nails last, depending on how the dog reacts to it. But what advice could you give to perhaps owners at home that were doing it and weren't too sure of the signals to be looking for?
Yeah, so it's the same as you said, sometimes doing it at the start, sometimes doing it at the end of the groom, sometimes doing it on when you've not been near them with a hairbrush. It's just the picking up, again, when they're going to go over the threshold. If it's something that needs to be done at the start, you can tell they're a bit stiff and a bit unsure, maybe just clipping one nail then and then leaving it till the next day. If they're completely fine and then you get through one paw and they start to lick the lips or look away or get a bit tense, again, just leave it. And I think, I mean, it's not ideal to not be able to groom the dogs, but I think letting them be chill and happy and putting their mental welfare before you having a lovely, pretty dog is something you have to consider. And I know with Roland, the other day we tried it, we managed to clip one of his nails and he was just like, I'm not having this from you. At the groomers, loves it, but with us, he's like, why are you touching me?
It's funny, isn't it, how they react differently to different situations. Like Prim sometimes will lay on her back, like chilling on the sofa, and she'll let you do all of her nails and she's fine and she's like half asleep. Other times she's like, you're not coming with me in the other unless I have a licky mat, and the weather's doing this and this is happening, and it's like all her criteria, and she knows what's happening, and I've never ever caught her, but sometimes she's just like, no. So they're like humans in the sense of, if they're not in the mood for it, there's no point pushing it.
And I think sometimes as well, when people think they're playing, like if your dog is like trying to bite your brush or bite your clippers out your hand or mouthing at you, just suddenly jumping around, they're probably not trying to play with you, they're probably trying to switch up the situation because they don't want to be brushed. But yeah, it's kind of contextual as well, because both my toddlers I can send to the groomers and they'll stay for an hour and be blow dried and brushed, and they're like, oh, I look great, this is fab. But anywhere near them at home, it's the most stressful thing in the world. So
it's so funny, isn't it? My father-in-law's shepherd, well, he's got a Malamute cross shepherd, and in the salon, like, he strolls in and you open the bathroom and thank goodness he does get in on his own, because he's like 50 kilos. You're like, babe, come on in the bath. And he like strolls down and gets in and he loves it, absolutely loves it. And then he like poses on the table and loves having a brush. And like, you come to the yard and you do it and he'll come for a cuddle and he'll have a brush and then he'll like walk off for a bit and you're like, oh, okay. Not today then.
Not today, thanks.
Not today. Well, I had something else to ask you then, and I thought, I need to ask you that. So all the signals that you have mentioned, which I think is quite important, are all really subtle and really like low level. Occasionally for grooming we do have to muzzle dogs. And really it's not something we like to do, so if we do have to muzzle a dog for a particular part, we wait until the end. How important would you say desensitization is to the whole grooming process?
I think there's kind of that, you probably know, the pyramid of behaviours that build up to a dog biting, and knowing those signals, what we've spoken about, usually right at the bottom. So it's kind of not ignoring those signals, because then the dog will escalate to the next. Let me see if I've got it here. Here you go. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Escalation pyramid. So at the top, very top, is the bite, and at the bottom you've got yawning, blinking, nose licking. So it's making note of when the dogs are showing the behaviours at the bottom here before they escalate up here. And it's when people punish the behaviours at the bottom. So the most typical one is punishing growling. They're going to skip to the next level, which from growling is up to a bite. So it's taking notice of those things and not punishing them for them, because if they think, oh, it didn't work when I growled, so next time I'm going to try and bite and see if then I get away from the hairbrush. Things like that. So desensitizing can be really good as a long-term fix. I personally would be like, is it something I need to desensitize them to? You know, if you've got a cockapoo who's going to need regular maintenance on their coat, then you probably do need to desensitize them to the brush or the clippers or whatever. So I think with desensitizing, it's not going to be an overnight fix. It's taking it really slow and steady and at the dog's pace, because rushing them into something is probably only going to make their reactions worse. So, for example, with Flynn, my toddler, it started with just having the hairbrush in the room when we were doing something fun, just giving him treats and then moving the brush a bit closer to him, giving him his treats, and just having it there in the room. So when I got it out, it wasn't such a, oh my God, the brush is here kind of a thing. So it became a bit more normal. And then I'd do one brush, give him loads of treats, loads of fuss, things like that. So, I mean, it can be done. Some dogs, you might be from a starting point of they're absolutely petrified of that thing, and it's going to take you a year of building up to it. And some dogs, it's just I feel a bit uncomfortable with this. And with lots of positive rewards and treats and games, whatever makes your dog happy. Slow and steady, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think sometimes it can sort of be lost in translation when people are only coming sort of every 6 to 8 weeks, but it's still that bit at home that needs to happen to sort of make the puzzle all connect, because you do see it. And like, we start with our puppies, we encourage our puppies to come from sort of 12 weeks, and they have like a 6-weekly session with us where they'll come and experience sort of different sights and sounds, and the difference in those that come from a young age, like they're pulling to come in and they're quite happy. I mean, like they're not going to stand perfectly on the table, but then I would rather have a puppy that's happy to be stood on the table than a puppy that's coming for its first visit at 8 months old and has no experience of everything. It's just so overwhelming for them, isn't it?
And I think it's just being aware of what your dog's experienced, and whether they've had a bad experience, been to a groomer that agrees with punishment or is less aware of body language or puts them in a position they're uncomfortable with, and then is taken to a nice groomer like you where you expect them to just be comfortable with it. So it's considering all those things. And also, dogs' brains are a little bit different to ours. They have, this is nerdy talk, I'm going to get it the wrong way around. They have their emotion part of their brain is much bigger, so they feel emotions much more intensely than we do, but the rationalizing part is much smaller. So when they've got overwhelming fear, they don't think, oh, okay, it was a different dog groomer that did it last time, so this lady might be nice, so I'll give it a go. They just think, sound of clippers, something bad happened last time, sound of clippers, oh God, something bad's going to happen, complete terror through my entire body. So it's worth remembering that they don't have that rational thought process. So with dogs, when they go into that state of fear, it's just changing the scene for them, completely putting them in a different context, giving them something else to do, giving them something to eat, change their attention away. And
that, I suppose, goes for dogs out on walks. So I hear quite a lot, like, oh, my dog doesn't like black Labradors, or my dog doesn't like, and it's not that individual dog it doesn't like, but it could be one experience that happened that made your dog generalise that, oh, German Shepherds or black Labradors or whatever, that dog then becomes a bit scared of.
Yeah, and it's completely context as well, because it might be something that you've not even picked up on. It might be that every time you see a black Labrador, you panic a bit, you pull on the lead a little bit tighter. They think, Mum's pulling on the lead, that something stressful's happening, pick up on your stress. It might be that it's a particular sound on a walk, a train going past, and it just happens that there was a black Labrador there the first time. It might be that they were attacked by a black Labrador. There's so many different things go into it, and dogs are learning all the time. Dogs pick up on so much stuff all the time. They hear things much more intensely than we do. They smell things much more intensely than we do, and they all associate. So, oh, I smelt that and something bad happened, or I smelt this and it was good, or, you know, so there's so much to consider. And I quite often say to people when they say, my dog does this and I don't understand it, I'll say, film it happening a few times and then show me, and then we can pick up what the common denominator is, or what's happening each time, whether it's something you're doing, something the dog's doing, something in the surroundings. I think it's never as simple as people think.
No, I think this is why people want their dogs to be able to talk, but we need to understand their language, because they always say like, oh, like, I wish my dog could talk, I wish my dog could tell me this, that or the other, and like, we want them to, but they kind of are telling us in their own language, and it's just learning to pick that up from them.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get frustrated as well, especially, for example, we've got a shouty Dachshund who'll bark at everyone, and you get frustrated being like, why have you just walked past 3 old men and suddenly you're shouting at this poor old man who doesn't know why? And it is quite easy to get frustrated with it, but this thing, they've got so much else going on in their brains, all the sniffs, all the smells, all the other dogs, that sometimes you just have to let them have a breather. And yeah.
But again, yeah, no, it's been great talking to you. We need to get a date for you to come into the salon to give a talk on this, because I think
definitely
sit and talk to you for hours about it.
Get really nerdy and tell you everything.
I love it. So if people wanted to find out more about you and your business, where would they find you?
So the main thing we do is Instagram, the Rutland Dog Walker, always loads of pics and videos of dogs being silly. And we've been trying to do different brain games and activities for dogs, putting a couple of videos on there every now and then, different ways to feed them, keep their brains working and their noses working, because I think that helps generally keep a happier dog. So we do a lot of that on Instagram. We're on Facebook as well, just the Dog Walker Rutland. And then we've got a website as well, the rutlanddogwalker.co.uk. People can just drop me a message on any of the above, ask me any questions. I always like to get nerdy about dogs. So yeah.
Fab. Well, it's been lovely talking to you, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
It was nice to see you. Bye.